today we will go to the continuation of the lesson, the Jodi's farm. I think up to the second part we had come, that means we have seen that he and Bill was going to find out where the, yes, Don was there, isn't it? Where the little fawn was there. Now look, now we are coming to the third. Movement directly in front of him startled. That means second one what we have studied, we will go through that once more. Joby gave himself over to thoughts of the fawn. They passed the abandoned clearing. That means they had now entered the forest. He said, cut to the north, Millville. I was up here. That paw got bitten by the snake and killed the dog, and I saw the fawn. So he know the place where the fawn was and the dog was there, isn't it? So he said, okay, we have to go to the north side because I know the place where father had killed father was bitten by the snake and we had found that a dog over there. Suddenly Joby was unwilling to have Millville with him. If the lawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen. And if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that he could not endure to share it. So now Jody thought now there is no need of taking Millville along with him. Two reasons is there. What are the reasons? The first thing is that if suppose he and Millville go and that animal is not there, if it is dead, then who will feel so sad? Jody will feel so sad. So he did not want to show that feelings to Millville, isn't it? And the second reason is if that fawn is over there, the happiness, how much he is going to have, that feeling also he did not want to show whom Millville. Understood? So he thought it is better to send whom back? Millville back. He said it is not far now, but the scrub is very thick for a horse. I can make it on foot. So in order to avoid Millville, what did Jody say? Okay, now here are thick bushes. So it is very difficult for the horse to ride over there. So it is better you go back. I can go by foot. That means I will go by walking. But I am afraid to leave you, boy. Suppose you got lost or got bitten by a snake too. But Millville was not willing to send him alone. Why? Because he thinks that if any danger, sometimes if a snake comes there to bite him, or if any other dangerous is there, he cannot leave him alone. I will take care. It might take me a long time to find the fawn. If he is wounded, leave me off right here. So maybe I will take so much time to find the animal. So why you have to stand over here? So let me go alone and find the fawn. You can go back. This is what Jody had said. I will take care. It might take me a long time to find the lawn. If he is wandered, leave me off right now. If he is wandered means maybe it has moved from one place to another. Maybe going around the forest in search of his mother, isn't it? Because from the side of the baby only the mother has been taken. So the baby must be crying and wandering for his mother. So it maybe might have gone inside the forest. So Jody is saying that it will take time to find that wandering animal. So better you can go back. Alright, but you take it easy now. You know not here at least. So now he said that he agreed to that, leaving whom alone? Jody alone. There and there, that tall pine makes a bearing. So he understood the area and he said this is the place. So long, Millville, I am obliged. He waited for a sound of the hoofs to end, then cut to the right. So he was listening whether he is going back or not, hearing the hoofs of the horse. The scrub was still and the whole area was covered with the bushes. Only his own cracking something sounded across the silence. So it was very silent. Everywhere it was silent, not a single sound can be heard. And the only sound that can be heard is the footprint or the sound made by whom? He wondered for an instant if he had mistaken his direction. So first he thought, is he in the right direction or not? Then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped into the air. Suddenly a bird came, a large bird. Buzzard means a large bird, means equal to vulture, kadigal. Yes. He came into the clearing under the oaks. Usually these buzzards used to come where? Finding for the dead bodies, flesh-eating animal, isn't it? So if that bird is rounding somewhere, it is sure that some dead animal or anybody of the dead is being over there, because it is a flesh-eating bird. So suddenly that bird had appeared over there, clearing under the oaks. Buzzard sat in a circle rounding the carcass of the dog. Carcass means dead body. Carcass, dead body. So now we could understand very near itself who is there. That animal is there. Why? Because who is circling? The buzzard is circling. They turned their heads on their long scanny necks and hissed at him. They came to attack him. He threw his bow at them and they flew into an adjacent tree. So Stick was there with him. He blew them off and they had gone to the next tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fish and they had dug the door to the foreign birds. So already the dead body of that doe was there, because they have taken only the liver, isn't it? So remaining part of the body is being left over there. So now the birds and other wild cats had come over there to have the flesh of the doe, and after eating they had left the remaining part for the birds. He parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. That means it looks like so many days had passed. The fawn was not there, and the baby doe was not there. He circled the clearing, so everywhere he looked, he searched everywhere. There was no sound, no sign. The animal was not there. The buzzards cracked their wings, impatient to return to their bush business. What is the business of the buzzard? To come and have the flesh of that animal, dead animal, isn't it? And in between, who was standing over there? Jodi was standing over there. So who cannot come? The birds cannot come, isn't it? So they were flapping their wings very hardly to make whom go from there? Jodi go from there. And Jodi was searching for that animal, fawn, isn't it? He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged. Emerged means came, and dropped on all fours, studying his nail, small footprints. The night's rain had washed away all tracks except those of cat and buzzard. So now he could not find the tracks of footmarks of the fawn, because the previous night what had happened? There was rain and everything had been washed away by the rainwater except cats and buzzards, because they are now still they are searching for their flesh, isn't it? Now we are coming to this is what we have already taken. Now we are coming to the third. Now we will see whether Jodi has found that animal and what he has done. Movement directly in front of him startled him so that he tackled backward. He started moving backward. Because in that area where that mother has been killed, he could not find the baby. The fawn lifted his face to his. He turned his head with a wide wandering motion and shook him through with a share of his liquid eyes. So now he could see the animal lying over there, and it seems to be like the crying, because the tears were coming from his eyes. It was quivering. Quivering means shivering. Quivering, shivering. Quivering means shivering. It made no effort to rise or run. So the animal was not able to get up or run away from there. Jodi could not trust himself to move, and Jodi could not trust himself seeing that animal in front of him. So you can imagine how happy who had felt. Jodi had felt. He whispered, "It is mine." That means I am here for what? To save you. The fawn lifted his nose, sending him. So that animal slowly raised, and with his nose he started to smell. He reached out one hand and laid it on the soft neck. Then he started patting the animal. The touch made him delirious. So when Jody has touched that animal, the animal felt some feeling that somebody had come to save him. He moved forward on all fours until he was close beside. So that animal cannot get up and move because it was too tired and something happened to the leg also, isn't it? Some injury happened to the leg. So the animal was not able to stand on his four legs. But somehow it managed to reach near home. Jody. He put his arms around the body, then he put the arms around that animal. A light convulsion passed over it, but it was not steady. So, some emotion, that a feeling how that animal which had been lost and who had been lost his parent, that means some mother, isn't it? Is now there, and he felt that happiness that he is able to save that baby form. He stroked his sides gently as though the fawn were a china deer and he might break it. But very softly he had patted the animal. Its skin was very soft. The skin of that animal was very soft. It was sleek and clean and had a sweet scent of grass. Because the whole night it was lying on the grass, isn't it? So that the smell of the grass has been scented from its body. He rose slowly and lifted the fawn from the ground. Then Jody started to take that fawn and make him stand on his 4 feet. Its legs hung limply, but it was not able to stand properly. They were surprisingly long and he had to hoist the fawn as high as possible under his arm. So he was also not a very big tall boy, isn't it? So that animal, he cannot make that animal hold up to him because it was having long legs, isn't it? So he found it difficult to take that animal as high as possible under his arm. He made him come under his arm. He was afraid that it might kick and beat at sight and smell of his mother. So when first Jody felt afraid because he thought that animal will show any kind of reaction, whether because it has lost his mother, isn't it? And now he is a human being, so maybe the animal thinking that he can come over there, he had come over there to do any kind of problem to him, isn't it? So sometimes it may kick also, so he thought sometimes the animal may kick him. He started the cleaning and he pushed his way into the day, but the animal did not do anything. Slowly, with that animal, he started moving from that place. It was difficult to fight road with this burden. Burden meant that big animal in his hand, isn't it? The fawn's legs caught in the bushes and he could not lift his own with the freedom. So the area was covered with the thick bushes. So with that animal, he found him very difficult to move easily through that bushes, because in between the animal's leg used to catch hold of the bushes. So he himself had to save that animal from those bushes also. That also he has to do it. He tried to shield his face from pricking mites and also thought plants are there. Its head topped with his stride, his head heart thumped with the marvel of the acceptance offered him. So somehow, whatever is there, he decided to do the sacrifice for the animal, isn't it? Why he wanted to do that kind of sacrifice to the animal? Because in one way, he and his family has to do it. Why? Because they are the responsible people who had made that animal alone, isn't it? Because they had killed who? It's a mother. He reached the trail and walked as fast as he could until he came to the intersection with the road. Intersection means a junction where the road is dividing. So he had reached up to that dividing the road, and then he turned to the road towards his house. He stopped to rest and set the fawn down to the dangling leg. So he felt so much tired because with that animal, carrying that animal under his arms, he had walked a long distance and came to the diversion of the road, isn't it? And so now he felt very tired, and as a result, he kept that animal over there for a minute and he himself had taken rest. It waved on them. He looked at him and waited. So when he had put the animal over there, that animal looked at him and made a bleating. Bleat of the animal made sound. It made a cry. Why had it made a cry over there? Because sometimes the animal must have felt whether he is again going to leave that animal there, isn't it? So the animal felt that. Maybe he said, enchanted, I will carry you after I leave again my brother. But what did so who had understood? Ruby had understood what the animal had meant when it had made that sound, isn't it? So what was the answer given by Judy? He said, okay, I am ready, I am here to take you to my home. I am not going to leave you here, I am going to take you. But in between, let me take a little rest. He remembered his father saying that a fawn would follow if it had been carried. It means small animals, even the goat, kid also, isn't it? If we go, they will come after, they will follow us, they will come after us. Similarly, he had remembered what his father had said. Once if we have taken that animal, after some time you leave it, it will follow you. It will start walking after you. He started away slowly. So he thought that let that animal get up from that place and follow him. So suddenly, slowly, he started moving forward. The fawn stared at him. Stared means looked up. He came back to it and stalked it and walked away again. So if the animal was not able to get up, isn't it? So when he started moving a little forward, leaving the animal there, again what did the animal do? Animal looked at him with a hopeless eyes. Thinking that he is leaving him. So again he came back because the animal was not moving, isn't it? So again Jodi came back, patted him, scolded him, and then again he moved a little. Why did he do so? He thought again, who will get up and follow him? The fawn will get up and follow him. He came back to it and stalked it and walked away slowly again. He took a few wobbling steps towards him and cried piteously, but the animal was not able to move because it was having injury in his legs. So somehow little bit the animal was able to move. So he understood the animal is ready to go along with him. It was willing to follow him. It belonged to him. It was his own. He was light-hearted with the joy. So seeing, understanding that the animal wanted to follow him, or animal is willing to go along with Jodi. How did Jodi feel? He felt joy. He wanted to fiddle to run and roam with it, to call it to come to here. So he wanted to call all kind of names with that lovely words, because he felt that happiness in his mind that animal is ready to follow him. He darted and around him. He picked it up and carried it in front of him over his two arms. Then he carried the animal with his two arms and seemed to him that he walked with the other. So when he was carrying the animal in front of him, holding with his two arms, it find very difficult for him to move forward because a heavy weight is there in front of him with that animal is dead. Somehow he wanted to take it home. His arms began to ache. Ache means pain, and he was forced to stop again. So he was not able to move easily with that animal, isn't it? So in between he stopped himself. When he walked on, the fawn followed him attending. He allowed it to walk a little distance, then picked it up. So little, the animal started moving. Then after some time he used to carry. Then again leave it to follow him. Then he used to carry. The distance home was nothing. He could have walked all day and into the night, carrying it and watching it follow. He was wet with sweat, but a light breeze blew through the June morning, cooling him. There was a cool breeze, and it made him not to feel tired. He came to the clearing, just fresh and green after the night sun. Everywhere it was clean because the previous night, what was there? Rain was there. He fumbled with the edge and has finally applied to sit down the fawn to manage it. Then he thought now it is a clear area where he had come. So he thought let the animal move himself and follow him. Penny's bedroom with the fawn walking behind him, but at the steps the fawn bucked and refused to climb in. He took it up and went to his father. Penny lay with the close eyes. So he came followed him up to the steps of the house, but it was not able to climb on the steps and get inside the house. Up to the steps it had come and then it stopped over there. So what did Jody do? Jody took that animal in his arms and went straight to the bedroom where his father Penny was lying. Penny turned his head. Jody stood behind him. The dawn crunched hard against him. It seemed to Penny that the boy's eyes were as bright as the fawn's. He said, "I'm glad you found him." So Penny was also very happy when he saw Jody as well as the animal also, isn't it? So he also felt very happy and he said, "At last you had brought the animal back home." Jody then went to the kitchen. Now he had wanted to give something to that small fawn. The fawn wobbled after him. It also went after him. Wobbled means not walking clearly. A pan now for morning milk stood in the kitchen. Say the cream had risen on it. He skimmed the cream into the jug. He poured milk into a small gourd into a bowl. He held it out to the fawn and gave it to the fawn. It buttered it suddenly, smelling the milk. So smell of the milk was there and it started. Saved it escaped from spilling over the food. It could not make nothing of the milk in the bowl. So it was not enough for the fawn. That milk it needs again and again, because the whole previous night after the baby mother was taken, it was not having anything to drink. Poor baby was there for a long night, isn't it? So it seems to be very thirsty. He dropped his fingers in the milk and thrust it into the fawn's soft bed. It sucked greedily with the finger. He dipped his finger in the milk and started giving to the fawn. It was licking. When he withdrew them, he bleated triumphantly. Then when he took out his hand from his mouth, he started making sound. He dipped his fingers again, and as the fawn sucked covered them slowly into the milk. The fawn blew and sucked and snorted. It stamped its small hooves impatiently. That means impatiently means saying that informing again it needs milk. As long as he held his fingers below the level of the milk, the fawn was content. It was satisfied. It closed his eyes gravely. It was just a way to feel the tongue against his hand. His tail flipped back and it started to move the tail. When do the animals move their tail? When to show their love, isn't it? To show their love, they used to move their hands. The last of the milk vanished. Vanished means disappeared. And within short time, what happened to the milk? The whole milk was done by the animal. It has vanished at the soul of mind and that means it was using the tongue to drink the milk, isn't it? So while the milk was going inside, the soft bubbles used to come over there, and now emptied the bowl where the milk was kept. Did you now? So now we come to the end. So how did Jody bring the fawn back? So he took great trouble to bring that animal back home, isn't it? That means the animal was not able to follow him. The animal was not able to walk freely with his leg. And so in between he had to take that animal. He had to catch hold of that animal with his two arms. And for a little distance he used to walk along with the animal. Then after that he used to leave it. And for a little distance the animal wobbled after him. And finally they had reached to the home. Up to the steps it had come, but was not able to climb the steps. So it waited over there for Jody to take him inside. That was being done by Jody. Jody was filled with emotion after he found the fawn. Can you find at least 3 words? How did the deer drink milk from the gourd? So when after reaching home, the first thing he has done is showed him to his father Penny, and Penny was very happy to find both are safe, isn't it? Then he went straight to the kitchen. He found that morning milk was already there, and he had taken the cream from him and brought that milk in a cup. And how did he started to drink? He was not able to drink, isn't it? So only sucking it can be done. So what did he do? He dipped his finger in the milk and started dipping his finger, putting the finger inside the mouth of the animal. It started sucking, so like that. And slowly he started to have that milk from the gut, isn't it? And finally the whole milk he can drink. How does Jodi's mother react when she hears that he is going to bring the fawn home? Why does she react to this way? So at first Jodi, mother, when father had said, okay, you can go and find the animal and bring home, mother did not agree. Mother did not agree. Why? Because she was frightened to leave whom to the forest, Jodi to the forest, because anything can happen in a forest, isn't it? And he will not be safe. So that who was having that tension over there? Mother was having the tension over there and she did not want. Instead, with whom she had allowed him to go? With the Milvin. So Milvin had agreed to take him, and as a result, mother had agreed to send Jodi to the forest. Now we are coming to the next. Here are some questions direct. Penny said, do you really want it, son? How will you ask a Penny? Asked. So it is saying only, then coming to the third person, it comes to be asked. Penny asked. Penny asked whom? Penny asked, did he really want it? Yes. Penny asked, did he really wanted it? So here we can ask, Penny asked his son. Then we can say whether or if he really wanted. That also can be added over here. Clear to you? Next one, Milvin said, will he ride back with me? Again, we can write Milvin. Yes, Milvin asked whether he would. We will change into would. Whether he would ride back with me. Will change into with him. See the changes? Asked. Instead of he asked him. Yes. Asked whether. Adding whether. What he will do? Whether he would. Yes. Whether he would. We will change into would. Whether he would ride back with him. Understood? Instead of he, we will write him. Now coming to the third. He said to Milvin, these are questions. That is why what we have already asked here, written over here, asked. Understood? Because all are questions, asking only. We are asking the questions only. Actually, we are not saying the question, isn't it? Now he said to Milvin, do you think the fawn is still there? Again he is asking. He asked, yes, he asked. He asked Milvin whether, he asked Milvin whether, yes, whether he thought, the fawn was still there. Asked Milvin whether he thought the fawn was still there. Now coming to the next. He asked Milvin, will you help me? See now there what is being asked? Asked whether, yes. He asked, So here no change. Understood? He asked Melville whether, yes, will change would, whether he would help him. We will change you the first person. Him finding him. So first him is who? Jody, and second him is the fawn. Understood? So now he asked Melville whether he would help him. Him here the first. Who is the first him? Jody. Whether he would help Jody to find him. Him is second. Him is the animal. Now the next one. Next one. He said, was it up here that Pa got bitten by the snake? Yes, he asked. Whether it was up there that Pa, who is Pa? Penny, yes, his father, got bitten by the snake. He asked whether it was up there. It here refers to the animal. It was up there that Pa got bitten by the snake. Now next one, he tumbled backward, it turned its head. The first sentence has an intransitive verb. A verb without an object. That means he tucked backward. So asking there it is not being said. What he had tucked backward, isn't it? Now look, he tumbled backward. So here we are asking backward what? It is not being said, isn't it? That means what is not there? No object. Suppose if we write here no object, he tumbled backward slowly. So object is there. How did he tackle backward? Slowly. So the answer will get there, isn't it? Then object is there. Here tackled question mark on because no object. So such kind of sentences are called intransitive. Intransitive verb because they don't have an object. Understood? That means after the verb we will ask the question, and if we get the answer for that, then it is transitive, and if we don't get the answer for that, it is intransitive. Understood? That means if object is there, it is transitive, and if no object is there, it is intransitive. Now look the first one. Jody then went to the kitchen. So here, then Jody went. If you stop here, it is intransitive. Clear to you? Went. If you stop over there, we can say it is intransitive. But we are asking the question over here. Jody then went where? If we ask the question over there, we will get the answer. Suppose we ask the question over here. Clear? So what is the answer? To the kitchen. So where did he go? He went to the kitchen. So you are getting an answer after the verb. Then this is transitive. Because what is there? Object is there. Object is present. Understood? This is the object. Suppose when is the verb? So asking the question to the verb. And when you ask the question to the verb, if you get an answer, then it is transitive. And if you don't get an answer, it is intransitive. Clear? Understood both the sentences? Okay, now we go to the exercise. First one we already done. Second, the fawn bobbled after him. The fawn bobbled. Then it is intransitive, but it is given there where it has bobbled after him. So it is transitive. Then you found him. So you found him. Where did you found him? That is not given to you, isn't it? Intransitive. Then he kicked it up. Intransitive. He dipped his fingers in the milk. He dipped his fingers. Up to there we will ask. Then we will ask the question. So where did he dip his fingers? In the milk. Then it is transitive. He bleated frankly and hitted him. The fawn stuck to his fingers. He lowered his fingers slowly into the milk. He stamped its small hooves impatiently. He held his fingers below the level of the milk. The fawn followed him. He walked all day. He stroked its sides. The fawn lifted his nose. His legs ambled. So these all you have to read and get the answers. Understood? Clear to you? So you have to read the lesson also many times. Read it